This week on TORC Unleashed, the fastest off-road machines on the planet descend upon the Big House, CRANDON International Off-Road Raceway, for 2 days of non-stop racing action. Can Bark River Pro 4 driver Mark Jenkins bring home another victory in the Pro 4 class? Or do Ricky Johnson, Johnny Greaves, and Scott Douglas have other plans? Then, we check in with the shock experts over at Fox Shocks about what it takes to put their product on the top of the box. And finally, as the green flag flies, the off-road warriors invade the track of CRANDON for 2 days of intense racing. All this and more, next on TORC Unleashed.
Hey there, race fans, I'm Kelly Snyder, and welcome to another episode of TORC Unleashed. Our fourth stop of the Traxxas Off-Road Championship Series is none other than the legendary Wisconsin track, the CRANDON International Off-Road Raceway. Nicknamed the Big House, this track is known throughout the world as the birthplace of short course off-road racing. From the hairpin turns to the blistering speeds, and of course, don't forget that land rush start, this track is a beast all in itself.
This is our Daytona. This is our, Wrigley Field. This is our, these are the epic events. And for short course off-road racing, this is the one.
This race is a happening. Your mothers, fathers, grandmas, grandpas, uncles, aunts, they come. They don't even know why they're coming. They just need to come to CRANDON.
Even the guys from out west, because they started desert out west, short course in the Midwest, and this is the place where we all get together, and this is where we all get it on.
It's a really natural terrain, high speed, fast flowing track. You go brown out pretty easily throughout the race. With the high speed corners and no vision, it makes for some pretty hairy moments. And you just say, oh hell, made it again. All right, hammer down, go, 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 go.
I think CRANDON's so unique just because of the years, its heritage, how many years it's been around, and all the big names started back here. Off-road kind of started here, and it's just kind of the legacy is lived on. It's the birthplace of off-road.
It's the longest track by far. It's just high-speed turns. We do a land rush start that's like nothing else. You get a huge adrenaline rush from that.
They call it the land rush start. Basically, we start out at the beginning of about a 200-yard grassy field.
We start side by side, slightly staggered.
To have all those horses just trimmering and that stall waiting for the green flag to go and you're creeping against your brake calipers is an awesome, intense moment. And then you just drop the hammer down when he waves the green flag.
We all race down into the first turn, about 107 miles an hour.
We're 15 trucks wide, going into this turn, and we only can fit 8, so we're squeezing down through the straightaway, and it's whoever has the biggest balls is going to make it.
And flinging and flying, and all hell breaks loose. You got more than 10,000 horsepower racing towards turn 1.
Sometimes it gets a little dicey down in that first turn. The biggest problem is, once again, there's 900 horsepower throwing a roost. You can't see, so your spotters can't see you because you're buried if you're in the back. And as you come around, it's just you're getting sprayed so bad you can't see. You can't pull tear offs quick enough because it's just a constant shower, like a snowblower, of dirt to your face.
Another thing that makes the Big House a unique beast of its own is the ever-popular Potawatomi Community Cup race.
Cups, they're unique because there's no points. There's nothing at stake. It's a one-race event. It's not tied to a whole season points championship. So you can let it all hang out. You can try different things and, try to think out of the box a little bit.
What they do is they stagger the start, but put the Pro 2s about 12 seconds in front of the Pro 4s. They race, we race. We catch, we race each other and see who comes out on top.
Basically, the Pro 2 guys, they're like the rabbit. And you're out there running as hard as you possibly can, and you know the Pro 4s are coming, but you just hope that they tangle and get mixed up with each other. And as the first Pro 4 is getting through the Pro 2s, you're hoping your Pro 2 buddies are doing everything they can to keep that guy from passing.
You've got race wins, you've got championships, and then you've got cup races. And you know, we were fortunate in 2011 to win the Amsoil Cup, the big fall race at Crandon, and you know, it definitely gave our team a boost, a shot in the arm, sponsorship-wise, whatever. And I think that's what's unique about the cup races. It's kind of like a little championship all on its own. And you know, we definitely want to win this cup race here today. It's great for the team, exposure and picking up new sponsors, and it's great momentum. Our team needs it. You know, you got to get that drive going.
Next on Torque Unleashed, we go behind the scenes to uncover some of the newest rivalries in off-road racing. Later, we'll tag along with the folks at Fox Shocks for an inside look at what it takes to put these off-road racers on the top of the box. And finally, an army of drivers invade Crandon for a slugfest that's not to be missed. That's coming up on Torque Unleashed. Torque Unleashed is brought to you by Amsoil, Cooper Tires, and by Oakley.
Hi, I'm Kelly Snyder, and welcome back to Torque Unleashed. Every year, the pros gather for 8 different events throughout the season to battle it out for the checkered flag. And during these events, there's a lot of rubbing and a lot of attitude that we see out there on the track. So much so that a few rivalries have been formed in each different class between the racers. If you think these machines are fierce, wait till you hear from our drivers.
Rivalries are awesome.
There's a lot of history on some of the rivalries, and there's new history as well.
But you gotta have rivalries. You gotta have good cop, bad cop. I'm not always bad cop. I'm good cop to my fans. It's awesome when someone loves somebody and hates the next person. And if you hate me because I'm beating your guy, guess what? I'm doing my job.
The class is so competitive. The rivalry evolves among what trucks you're running next to. So you may unlock a little speed secret. You may find something to boost your performance, and you're running with a different truck. And that close proximity, racing with each other, sometimes being real courteous, sometimes not so much. That's how those rivalries start.
We gotta have good friendly rivals, and we have to be able to race hard. We're the last frontier of Rubbin's racing.
My biggest competition coming in this year is Rob McCackern again. You know, last year we had a great battle all the way till the end of the season. It came down to the last race of the championship points-wise.
We had a tough battle with Bryce Menzies and others, Chad Horde, Jeff Kincaid, quite a few people, CJ Greaves for the points championship. And basically, it just so happened right at the end of the year, you know, we had a pretty good mid-season to the end of the year. We ended up going to the last weekend with the points lead. I ended up making a mistake. I don't do that very often, and I came off a tabletop, got in the mud, slid up into the K-rail, and it knocked the rear end out of the truck, and we lost the championship right there. I'm very disappointed in myself for letting that happen last year.
You know, we came out this year looking to just come out and win every single race, and I know Rob's going to be there every single second. He's been racing for 20 odd years now. He's the man to beat, so we feel really good with the #1 plate on the truck, and we're going to go out there and battle and see how it comes out.
Bryce definitely is, CJ definitely is, and McCackern, you know, definitely is. But you know what, anytime somebody, you know, there's a lot of guys that anytime can break through out there. But you know, when I'm laying in bed the night before, you know, going to focus on winning a race, them are definitely the guys in my sight.
My biggest competition right now this year would be CJ. Me and him have been battling all year, and I broke once and he would break once, and we kept flip-flopping points, and it's going to be a battle all year. It's whoever can be consistent. CJ as a racer, he's a good racer, you know. He tries every race as hard as he can, and he'll race you clean, you know. He races you how you race him, and I kind of feel like I'm the same person, you know. If someone's going to rub on me, you know, I'm going to give a fender back, but, you know, I'll be clean with you, I'll race you clean, and CJ will do the same for you. I look forward to every race racing against him. He pushes me to be my best, and I know I'm going to be pushing him to be his best, and it makes for great racing, and it's going to be a good season.
So we have it in Pro Light with Keegan and CJ. We have it in Pro 2 with Chad Horde. You got CJ. You got Rob Mack. And then you got Bryce. So you got a lot of guys dicing there. Pro 4. You got myself, Johnny, Scott Douglas, Adrian Cheney, and now Rob Mack, and now a new guy in the field that has, like I said, he's hit everything on the field, and now he's hit the top of the box twice. So Mark Jenkins is a definite factor, somebody that when I go into a race, I know I got to deal with him. So he's not just a guy that I can follow and wait for him to crash out.
I think there's a little bit of a buzz about what are we going to do about 25. I had a game plan for so-and-so and so-and-so, and on the podium yesterday, Johnny Greaves says, okay, this is not being fun. I was happy for you last week, not so much today.
He's kicked my ass twice, so shame on me.
Coming up, we gear up to punish these 900 horsepower engines with the aid of one of the best shocks in the business, Fox Shocks. And later, the warriors of the Traxxas Off-Road Championship take the track at CRANDON International Off-Road Raceway for an epic battle that's not to be missed. Next on TORC Unleashed. Behind the scenes of CRANDON International Off-Road Raceway, the spectators get a chance to hang out with their favorite racers, as well as get the inside scoop on all the latest and greatest products of their sponsors.
The cars themselves have come a long way. I've been around this my 14th season, and literally 10 years ago there was OEM components on the car. The front uprights, the spindle assembly were a stock GM bolt-on bearing assembly. Now everything is handmade, 300M, 4140 chromoly, heat treat, cryo treated. Nothing's OEM anymore. Everything has just gone way far beyond than it was 10 years ago. It's incredible.
Last 15 years, shocks have come a long ways. It's really an incredible thing. 15 years ago, you'd have to build your own, really, to get to where we are now today.
Now the shocks are so big, so strong, heat coatings, all the different stuff. These trucks are unbelievable, the beating that they take. I mean, you hit so hard you almost knock yourself out, and the truck's still underneath you. You're like, damn, this thing's a bad mofo. So my hat's off to our guys are Fox. I love the Fox shocks. The technology that they're putting into this, they're putting into Hummers for our troops, putting into bigger vehicles, the MRAPs and all that different stuff. So the technology that we're learning here, our soldiers are getting to use it too.
If you're looking for high-performance shocks, the folks over at Fox Shocks have got you covered.
The big thing you got to remember is these vehicles get beat so hard that they have to be reliable. Basically, I'm a tuning specialist, so everything that has to deal with making the truck work better is basically my job. A lot of things have changed. I mean, if you go back 15 years, 10 years, we didn't have bypass tubes, and I mean, that technology has opened up a lot because this gives us the shock's ability to be position sensitive. The size of the shocks has increased as the vehicles have just gone faster. They require more dampening forces, so it's always an evolving process. There's always something new. We're always trying something different. We work closely with a lot of the teams, so we're always taking information from them, taking it back to the shop, talking about what we can do to change this or change that, and then presenting them with something different to try as well. So it's an evolution. It's always changing, it's always progressing. Basically, this is the coilover shock. This is used to hold the coils, to spring the vehicle, to hold it up. It also has some dampening in it. Then this is your bypass shock. This is our main shock right here. This is what most of the tuning and the dampening is being done with. These are bypass tubes. These are used basically as the piston goes through the body, it passes these tubes and it gets stiffer, and we can adjust these, so adjust each one of those zones. The red's rebound, the blue is compression. Then you have your remote reservoir. This has a dividing piston in it with oil on one side and nitrogen on the other. As the shaft goes into the main body, it's displacing the oil. It's got to go somewhere, and this dividing piston will actually move in here. Then on the back here, we have a hydraulic bump stop. This is control the last 3 or 4 inches of travel. As this rear end housing comes up, it strikes the pad and it slows it down. That's a quick run through.
Next on Torque Unleashed, the green flag flies as the world's fastest off-road machines descend upon CRANDON International Off-Road Raceway and gear up for the coveted Cup race. Torque Unleashed is brought to you by Traxxas, BF Goodrich, and by Red Bull.
Welcome back to Torque Unleashed. I'm your host, Kelly Snyder. Well, the track is set and the racers are ready. There's just one thing left to say. Gentlemen, start your engines.
Saturday, Day 1, Round 8, the Traxxas Torque Championship. First up, the Pro Lights. As the green flag flies, CRANDON resident and Pro Light driver Keegan Kincaid grabbed the whole shot and never looked back. Meanwhile, last year's champion Brad Lovell and Doug Mittag pushed their way past the rest of the pack to jump into second and third. Meanwhile, Kincaid's rival CJ Greaves pulls off the track for mechanical issues and is out of the race. At the checkered flag, Keegan Kincaid grabs the win, followed by Brad Lovell in second and Doug Mittag in third. Next up, the Pro 2s. At the beginning of the race, Chad Horde ripped his way up front and took the early lead. Pro 4 driver Ricky Johnson found himself in unfamiliar territory in this race, having to drive for his teammate Bryce Menzies in the Pro 2 class. As Johnson makes his way around the track, he prepares to battle with a different Greaves, Pro 2 driver CJ Greaves. Back up front, Horde continues to dominate the race with each lap. At the finish line, Chad Horde takes the win, followed by CJ Greaves in second, and Ricky Johnson takes third. And finally, the Pro 4s. The top division of the Traxxas Off-Road Championship entered the big house, ready to do battle. At the start of the race, the Pro 4s roared down the straightaway and into turn 1. Last weekend's big winner Mark Jenkins returned to form and jumped out for the early lead. Meanwhile, Ricky Johnson and Johnny Greaves begin racing through the pack to catch up with the race leader. Lap after lap, Jenkins dominates the race. Last year's champion, Ricky Johnson, edged his way into second place and battled door-to-door with Jenkins. Jenkins pushed past Johnson and reclaims the race lead. Meanwhile, Johnny Greaves works his way through the crowd, finally setting up behind Johnson for third place. At the checkered flag, Mark Jenkins grabs the win, followed by Ricky Johnson in second and Johnny Greaves in third. Sunday, Day 2. Finally, the race everybody's been waiting for is here. The Potawatomi Community Cup Race. A victory here gives the winner of this race bragging rights here at the Big House. The rules are simple. Pro 2s and Pro 4s line up. The Pro 2s get a 12-second head start before the Pro 4s are unleashed onto the track. As the green flag flies, the Pro 2s scream out onto the field. Jeff Kincaid pulls out front and leads the Pro 2s at the beginning of the race. 12 seconds later, the Pro 4s tear out onto the track. Pro 4 driver Johnny Greaves jumps out front and leads the Pro 4s closer and closer towards the Pro 2s up ahead. Meanwhile, up front, Jeff Kincaid continues leading the pack. Pro 2 driver CJ Greaves hustles behind Kincaid in second. Kincaid continues distancing himself from CJ Greaves, but knows in a few laps he'll no longer be battling with a Pro 2 driver, but possibly a Pro 4. Back in second, CJ Greaves begins to feel the pressure from his dad, Pro 4 driver Johnny Greaves. The father and son battle begins as Greaves Sr. stalks Junior's every move. Finally, Johnny Greaves finds an opening and takes it. Back up front, Kincaid's lead slowly disappears with each lap he makes. Johnny Greaves finally moves up front and is in striking distance of Kincaid's lead. The two battle through countless turns before Greaves jumps out ahead and takes the lead. Meanwhile, CJ Greaves, back in third, struggles against the other onslaught of Pro 4s and nears himself closer and closer to Kincaid's second place position. At the checkered flag, Johnny Greaves takes the win, followed by Jeff Kincaid in second and CJ Greaves in third.
Well, that about wraps it up for us here at Crandon International Off-Road Raceway. I'm your host, Kelly Snyder, and I'll see you next time on TORC Unleashed.
On the next episode of TORC Unleashed, the Traxxas Off-Road Championship Series heads to the Windy City to battle in the Chicagoland Speedway. Does Pro 2 driver Chad Horde and Pro Light driver Keegan Kincaid have what it takes to take the top spot in Chicago? We'll find out on the next episode of TORC Unleashed.